Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you really want to live in the body and mind you really want to be living in. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of food and body freedom, as well as find more meaning and more moments of joy in life, you are in the right place. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real. I am sitting outside early morning recording this, so you might be hearing some background noises, hopefully of all the birds instead of the cars. I apologize for not sitting in a little studio recording this, but I don't always have a ton of time to do these and really focus on being outside in the mornings as much as I can, as it just really helps reset my nervous system, makes the day so much better. So here I am recording outside with all the background noise. All right, so a couple of things before we get started. Just a reminder, you can head to my website, heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen. And you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter on all things well-being. It's always just short and sweet, tips and tricks on how to improve the day, your mental health, your physical well-being, mental and spiritual well-being, all things like that. I always include a high-protein recipe as well as links with discount codes to products and services that support the podcast. It's a great way to support the podcast is using those products with the discount code, so you get a little cheaper product as well. You can just scroll to the bottom of any page on my website, and there's a little box there that you can sign up. All right, let's move on to what we were talking about today. I've been thinking about doing an episode on this because I've lately just had a lot of clients in my office who express this FOMO thing, right? This fear of missing out. They're talking about things of, maybe other people making plans, they're not invited. It's just come up multiple times, so it made me start thinking about this. And I've always tried to focus on the opposite, right? The JOMO, the joy missing out versus FOMO, the fear of missing out. So we're just going to kind of talk about these things today. We're going to talk about these things in general, but also these things really can and do relate to overeating, using food to deal with some of these things. And so those of you who tune in specifically because you are working on creating a healthier relationship with food, although I won't go directly into that in this episode, I just want you to think about how when we sit in FOMO, when we are in the fear of missing out, often those of us who use food to self-soothe, we emotionally eat, we will go to food in these moments. So figuring out how to get out of FOMO and how to get into JOMO can be really helpful in lessening the emotional eating. All right. So I want you to think about the fear of missing out, more complex mix of emotions. It's not just the fear of missing out on an event or an experience. It's actually the anxiety of potential regret. It's often irritability, frustration, and even anger can be in there. FOMO is really rooted in a much deeper core fear of being left out, of not belonging. It really touches on our core beliefs about belonging and mattering as a person, as a human, our worthiness. So as human beings, we all crave, we're designed to crave a sense of belonging. You can think about even from way back in the day where we would have really needed to belong to a tribe for our safety, right? And so we really crave that. That's just sort of ingrained in us. It's been designed in us to belong. So it really is essential for our feeling of safety, of regulation. And our body and brain are always on the lookout for this security, trying to find safety. So let's think about a really common scenario, one I hear often. You're scrolling through social media, you see a group of friends at a party that you weren't invited to, and your immediate reaction probably is going to be a mix of sadness and also irritation. You might wonder, why wasn't I invited? Do they not like me? Am I not important to them? And then these thoughts, which remember create our feelings, which drive our behavior. So we have these thoughts can spiral. And then this really leads to those feelings of isolation and self-doubt. Like what's wrong with me? It's also important to recognize that these feelings are normal. Our brains are wired to seek connection and belonging, right? That's what we talked about. We want that safety. Our brains are designed that way to seek connection and belonging to create that safety. However, FOMO, the fear of missing out, can be incredibly draining and really, really, really counterproductive. So, how do we shift from FOMO to JOMO, the joy of missing out? So, first, let's talk about self awareness. Understanding that the fear of missing out stems from deeper fears, those core fears about belonging, can really help us address that deeper root cause. So, when you feel FOMO creeping in, taking a moment to pause and acknowledge your feelings without judgment. So, asking yourself, what am I truly afraid of right now? Is it missing out on the event or is it something deeper? So, just that self awareness, pausing, really allowing yourself to notice and then name and feel the feelings without judging them. And then getting a little cognitive with it, asking yourself those questions. What am I really afraid of right now? Is it missing out on the event or is it something deeper? And then next, you can work to reframe the situation. So instead of focusing on what you're missing, consider what you're gaining. So, really shifting on purpose your attention from what you're missing to what you're gaining. So, this might be time for self care. This might give you time to pursue a hobby or simply relaxing without the pressure of social obligations. So, for example, instead of feeling left out at that party, think about the peaceful evening you can enjoy at home, reading a book, watching your favorite show, or just doing whatever you want. Another powerful tool is practicing gratitude. I'm sure by now most of you have heard about the research behind practicing gratitude, shifting your focus from what you lack to what you have. So, even making a list of 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for in the moment you're feeling FOMO can really, really help you cultivate a different mindset and group of thoughts to really appreciate the present moment, which can really shift you out of those FOMO feelings. It's also really helpful to set boundaries with social media. I mean, I could do a whole probably 5 episodes on this. Social media can be such a difficult one. So, anyway, really helpful to set boundaries with it, really limiting your screen time. But even more than that, being selective about the content that you consume. We all have control over what is fed to us via social media. So, really doing the work to cultivate a social media feed that is inspiring, that is helpful, um, that's educating you. Cultivating that type of feed can be really life changing if you use social media. So, remember, social media often presents a highlight reel and not the full picture, right? People tend to share their best moments and not their struggles and their mundane days. So just keeping that in mind when you are scrolling social media. Okay, so let's talk about some real practical tips for reducing FOMO. Just real quick, I wanted to tell you about a new company I've been working with that I am thrilled to share with you. I absolutely love this company. I use them myself and have for a really long time, and that is Kion Aminos. I really think that Kion Aminos stand out because they are one of the very few companies that offer all 9 essential amino acids in their formula and transparently list the exact amounts of each. This level of honesty is really, really rare in the supplement industry. So you truly know you are getting what you are paying for. Supplementing with essential amino acids can significantly aid in appetite control and support muscle maintenance and recovery. I often recommend Kion essential amino acids to my weight loss coaching clients to really help with urges and cravings to overeat. Key aminos can help you feel fuller longer and really help you to build that lean muscle to keep the metabolism going. Our bodies cannot produce all the amino acids that we need for optimal health. So, essential amino acids really need to come from our diet or from supplements. So, without regular intake, we risk losing muscle mass and bone density, making these nutrients especially crucial as we age. And one of the ways I think about using on aminos is because many of us have a lot of difficulty getting in the amount of protein that we really need on a daily basis optimally. So, supplementing with essential amino acids can really help aid with that. I really love knowing that alongside my dietary protein, I'm supplementing with the essential amino acids necessary for my long term goals of strength, muscle maintenance, weight management, and just overall health as I age. So, some quick protocols if you want to try Kion aminos for weight loss. Mix a scoop with water in the morning and another in the afternoon when you kind of have that energy dip. And this is really my go to routine for appetite control when I'm in the office, because often in mid afternoon, I'm getting into that energy slump. I really start to crave something sugary or caffeine, and I don't want to do either of those. And canned aminos really help me get through that mid afternoon slump. And then for endurance athletes, taking 5 to 10 grams per hour during workouts longer than an hour can make a huge difference. I ride my bike in endurance. I don't know, routes and races. And so I do take Kion aminos on my rides just to keep my muscles well nourished. It's often difficult to eat when doing long endurance athletic endeavors. And so I use Kion aminos to kind of help supplement with that. And then also, if you've had a tough workout during the day or a really, really hard day, a scoop before bed can help aid in recovery. Since I felt the benefits of Kion aminos, I want to share it with you. And as a listener of this podcast, you can get 20% off by using my referral link, getkion.com/Heather. That's GETKION.com/Heather for 20% off your entire order. Plus, they offer a 60-day money back guarantee. Really, you guys, this is a really exceptional company. You are getting exactly what you are paying for. So that 60-day money back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Check it out. See how essential amino acids can support your weight loss goals and athletic performance and help curb those cravings. And of course, don't roll your eyes at me, but number one would be mindfulness practice. So, engaging in a mindfulness practice like meditation or deep breathing exercises, or like for me, I'm not great at meditating. I've tried and tried and tried, but I definitely can do mindfulness practices when I'm listening to them, when like through an app where someone is kind of telling me how to think, where to put my attention, what to do. I'm real good at sitting through 5 to 10 minutes of that daily. And that's all you really need for the brain to start changing. So these practices really help ground us in the present and reduce anxiety. And that is all the research is out there. Mindfulness stuff really, really, really works. The second practical strategy would be connection. So, really seeking out meaningful connections rather than superficial interactions. So, really investing your time and energy in relationships that truly matter to you. So, really having one or two people in your life where you can have much deeper conversations with, you have that deeper connection with, investing time and energy in that is so much more rewarding and helpful to us as humans than trying to do this surface level connection with a whole bunch of people. Third practical tip would be self compassion. So, practicing being kind to yourself and your self talk, really acknowledging to yourself that it's okay to feel left out sometimes and that it does not define your worth. Just really getting into the practice of getting compassionate with yourself. And remember, I mean, I've touched on this in tons and tons of episodes, but remember the practice would be things like, thinking about how would you talk to your little child who feels left out, using that same language for yourself. Sometimes it's easier to write it to yourself, like writing a letter to yourself that is full of compassion. And if you're really, really uncomfortable with this, yes, I know it's hard. Remember, this is practice, it's a skill. You still want to try to push through some of that uncomfortableness to really practice the self-compassionate language with yourself. But if you just can't go there, then remember we talk about using neutral language, right? So, instead of like, they must not like me, I'm not worthy enough to be part of that group or whatever it is, it's instead focusing on, hey, I notice these thoughts. I'm working on being more compassionate in my self-talk. That would just be a neutral self-statement. And then the fourth little practical tip I have here is find your joy. So identifying activities that genuinely bring you joy and then making time for them, literally scheduling them into your week, into the month. I mean, this could be anything. Could be anything from gardening to painting to spending time with loved ones. Shifting to the joy of missing out, to JOMO, is really about embracing the freedom and joy that come with not feeling the need to be everywhere and to do everything. It really is embracing that feeling of freedom. It's about finding contentment in your choices and really valuing your own well-being. Remember, it's perfectly okay to say no to social invitations if they don't align with your needs or values. By doing so, you're really honoring yourself and creating space for what truly matters for you. And I cannot reiterate that enough, how when I started embracing this way of living, how much more joy came into my life. So I just really try to push this on people to really get good practicing being okay at saying no to things that don't align with your needs or values. Okay, so as I kind of wrap up this episode, I just encourage you to reflect on moments when you've felt FOMO and consider how you can shift your perspective to JOMO. It's a journey, it's a practice, and it is okay to take steps. Thanks for joining me today on Weight Loss and Wellness for Real. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with others who might benefit from it. Remember, you are not alone in your feelings, and together we can find joy in missing out. We will talk soon. Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen, and there you will find links to my online courses, how I work with clients one-on-one, as well as online with my coaching and counseling services that I offer.
The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.